little tube so widely used, so unnoticed on airplane wings, has served us almost 4 centuries, and it will doubtless still serve us long after the great aqueducts finally crumble. I'm John Lienhardt at the University of Houston, where we're interested in the way inventive minds work.
A transcript of this Engines of Our Ingenuity episode number 2213 is online at uh.edu/engines. Additional episodes are available by podcast.
$8:51 Monday morning here on KSJE. It's time for our Monday Reboot segment. That's when I get to talk technology. Lewis Campbell is joining us remotely this morning. Lewis, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in or on the show. How are you? Oh, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I had my mute button on.
There, now we can see you and hear you. Perfect. So, good to see you. And so what's been going on this last week?
Well, the Elon Musk saga continues, right? Twitter's board of directors. He said he didn't want to be on the board. Then he made a bid, or announced a bid. I don't know if he made it, to buy the company. The Twitter's board of directors immediately passed a resolution allowing for discounted buying of shares by existing shareholders to dilute his amount. That's what they call a poison pill in vernacular terms.
Right. Yeah.
So that's that's kind of being bustled back and forth. And in the meantime, in a separate lawsuit against Elon Musk from Twitter shareholders based on something he a couple of years ago he said he had he could get the like $53 million or something like that to buy out Twitter, and it turned out that was not only a false statement, but it caused significant damage to the shareholders. So under that lawsuit, the shareholders under that case, those shareholders now have filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk, claiming that he violated kind of a gag order by beginning to talk about that case again, because he started talking about that case. So it's just back and forth with those things right now.
Right. Interesting. Well, I guess when you're a multimillionaire, that stuff happens, right? You stay in the media, in the news from week to week.
Yeah. You're like one of the richest billionaires in the world.
Very true.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I was going to pass along a story also. I think it was another story about Mr. Musk. Yeah, a judge had ruled, this is from Reuters, that the tweets that he had made earlier, about taking Tesla private were false. And so that could get him into trouble too, right? Because that impacted other investors, I think, too, in the company.
Yeah, and I think I may have misstated before. That may be the case that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Because I goofed and made it sound like it was him trying to take Twitter private, but it was actually Tesla private. That was the significant mistake. So yeah, you and I are talking about the same
thing. There you go. More warnings, though, from U.S. about maybe some cyber attacks, maybe from Russia, maybe from other folks, all related maybe to the war in Ukraine and things along that line. That's something I know you're very familiar with, of how to protect a company against cyber attacks, right? Is this something folks should be paying attention to even here in the Four Corners?
Oh, yeah. And it's all the same advice. If you look at basically the standard security controls that everybody talks about, the standard things to do, don't use a password that's easy to guess at, keep your password changing, don't use the same password everywhere, be aware of phishing and careful about not responding to phishing attacks. Those are everyday behaviors and activities that people can engage in to keep themselves safe. On top of that, there's other things you can do technically. Something that's becoming widely available now that I would really recommend everybody use is what's called multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, and that's a complicated way of basically saying turn on the feature of your accounts that makes you use two things to get in. So normally it's a password and a text message, right? So you you turn on this feature on your account, whatever your account is, and when you go to the account, you have to log in with a password, but then it sends you a text message with a code, and you have to type in the code too. And it may be irritating and inconvenient, but it really enhances your safety because it makes it almost impossible. Even if somebody does get your password, they still can't get in. They have to have your phone in your password.
Right, those 2 steps, right?
Right.
Very good advice. Good advice. All right. Louis, thank you so much for joining me this week. Always appreciate it.
Thank you. Everybody have a great week. Happy Easter and all that good stuff.
That's right. You too. Thank you. That is Louis Campbell. He joins me from Cintigy Computer Systems every Monday, 8:50 a.m. right here on KSJE Farmington.